Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm making meat pierogis. Not the traditional way, but something that I kind of came up with, and the inspiration was my husband. He doesn't like much of anything in pierogis but meat. I did record the meat pierogis traditional way, but this is something I created myself. It is ground chicken, spinach, sun-dried tomatoes, and cheese. Some flavors that I enjoy, so it is for both of us. I have made it a couple times at home and gave it to some of my neighbors just to see how others like it. And after they gave me thumbs up, well, today I'm sharing this recipe with you. Meat pierogis. Welcome to my kitchen and thank you for watching. And for the filling, I will need 1 package of ground chicken, which is about a pound, shredded cheese, an onion, some garlic cloves, spinach, sun-dried tomatoes, butter, and some olive oil. Before I move everything into the pan and start cooking, I would like to mention that I did remove the stems from the spinach and cut it into smaller pieces. And also, the sun-dried tomatoes, I have cut it into smaller pieces. The reason why is that I want all those ingredients incorporated with the chicken, so it is easier to put the filling in the pierogi dough on the end. What I start with is a little bit of butter on the pan, and also I like to put that oil from those sun-dried tomatoes. The combination adds more flavor. So that onion goes in. And I will saute the onions for a few minutes on medium. And then add sun-dried tomatoes to it. On the end, spinach and garlic. And of course, salt and pepper. Time for sun-dried tomatoes now. And like I said, that oil from them has so much flavor. And as you can see, I cut those tomatoes into smaller pieces. So in about 3-4 minutes, spinach and the garlic go next. So that is the garlic. I want those sun-dried tomatoes to soften with the onions and my spinach. It seems like it is a lot, but spinach shrinks. So on the end, it's not going to be that much. So I have a bag of spinach. And as always, I put the ingredients list under the videos, so you will know exactly how much of everything. And if for some reason you don't like that much spinach, then you can always put half of it. And of course, salt and pepper. And remember how much spinach I had at first, and now it's like 1/3 of it. Oh, and that smell, it smells so good. For those of you who love more salty things like I do, my husband has a sweet tooth and I have a salty tooth. You could sprinkle it a little bit with soy sauce. But this is done, and I will put that into a bowl. And on the same pan, without washing it, I will put chicken. And now I will saute this chicken until it's done with some salt, pepper, a little bit of soy sauce. And on the end, when the meat is done, I will add my veggies into it, sprinkle cheese on top, and the filling will be done. I have a little bit more of that chicken meat because I have a couple more people coming for those pierogis. But under my video, I will have an ingredients list for the regular size I usually make. Try to break the meat as much as possible so there are no big lumps, but very tiny smaller pieces, as it will be easier for you to get that filling into pierogi. When you have big lumps of meat, it will be very difficult to shape the pierogi. So break it as much as possible. Okay, salt, pepper, a little bit of soy sauce. And this is ready for the veggies to go in. Last part, cheese goes in and the filling is done. If you want to make it the day before and then make the pierogis the next day, you can do it as well. Put it in the fridge and take it out so it is room temperature before you make the pierogi. With cold meat, it will be very hard to shape the pierogis. Before I start making the pierogi dough, I would recommend that you have one board for the dough and then another board or tray, something for the actual pierogis. Because you want to make sure you have enough space for making that dough and rolling it out. Otherwise, your work will be more difficult. For pierogi dough, I will need 4 cups of all-purpose flours with that, about 500 grams salt, 2 egg yolks. If your eggs are small and if you have a big egg, then 1 should be enough. And here is warm water with milk and butter. 1/3 of milk and the rest warm water and tablespoon of butter. So all together I have a little over 1 cup. And this is what I need for the pierogi dough. Teaspoon of salt. Depending how big your eggs are, 1 or 2 egg yolks. Just do it slowly, don't be in a hurry. Let the flour incorporate the liquid. It is better if you have too much liquid, because you can add more flour on the end. Then your dough will be very dry and then there's nothing you can do about it. And I love the scraper. The scraper is a wonderful tool. Every flour is not created equal. When I use Polish flour for made specifically for pierogi, it is very light. And some of the flours are on the heavier side, so I would need more liquid. So do it slowly to see how much you need. But usually, this recipe works best. It is nice and soft. It doesn't have any dry flour anymore, but it's not watery. So now it is time to put it together. Everything got nicely incorporated. So now sprinkle some flour and I can work the dough a little bit more. And the next step is to wrap it in foil and leave it to rest for 20-30 minutes. That will make your dough softer. Well, it is pretty soft now. But all the little particles need to relax, and it will be so much easier to roll the dough out. And again, I wanted to show you up close how small the pieces are, how soft it is. If you have chicken pieces that are not that small, break them apart. The smaller it is, then the better and easier it will be to put it in the dough and close it. And that's how it looks like for me. It is nicely blended, all of it. Okay, now it's time to roll the dough out. It is very stretchy, very easy to work with, and it will be easy to roll it out. So it is worth the wait. Time to make pierogis. And some people like to cut circles out because the shape is easier. And I don't do that because I don't like wasting the dough. If you cut circles out, then what do you do with the leftover dough? You have to re-roll it and then add more flour to it, so the dough is not going to be as soft. I just cut squares out. The dough is so soft and flexible that no matter the shape, I can make it round. Just push the corners in, stretch the top, push the corners in, and you will have a round shape. So corners in, and see, from a square, a round one. So again, square like that. Then lock it. At first, just squeeze it all around. Don't worry about the shape. And then second round, corners in, stretch out the top, corners in, and here you go. And that way you do not waste that soft dough that you have. Just close it up. And second time around, corners in, stretch the top a little bit, corners in, and another one. So again, close the filling in, dip your fingers in flour, push the corners in, stretch the top, corners in, and then you have a nice round shape. And how important it is to have that filling and chicken meat broken into small pieces so it can be flexible. Otherwise, if you had big pieces of chicken, that would kind of mess up the shape because you would see it sticking out. So it is important you break the chicken into tiny pieces. And here we go. Big pot of hot water boiling with tablespoon of salt. So now it's time to start boiling the pierogis. Okay, I do not want to overcrowd them, so this is enough. Because if I put too many, big chances they will break and fall apart for me. Okay, need to stir it so they don't stick to the bottom. And I like to have another dish with ice and cold water. Once pierogi are done boiling, I like to put them in that ice. From hot to cold, the dough shrinks, lacking all this yummy filling inside. I hardly have any pierogi that fall apart or broke. I usually, 99% of the time, I don't have any pierogi that fell apart. As soon as the pierogi come to the surface, couple minutes, and they will be done. Okay, they came to the surface. It's been a couple minutes, so I'm ready to take them out. None opened up. Okay, second batch goes in. From that amount of dough, I would have about 50 pierogis. And this is approximate because it depends how big they are. Okay, so stir again so they do not stick on the bottom. Okay, second batch ready, so soon lunchtime. The last thing I need to do is melt some butter, saute some sweet onions, and plate it. The onion is ready, so a little bit on top, and voila, lunch or dinner is ready. I broke one in half so I can show you up close before I eat it. Lots of protein, veggies, and flavor. Smacznego, everyone. Thank you for watching.